The holiday season is officially in full swing, so a lot of you are probably starting to get your decorations out if you haven't done so already. Starting to get them put up, get your house all ready for guests coming over for different parties, family events. So today what I'm going to do is show you how to make an evergreen porch pot to just top off your decorations, add a little extra something to the outside of your house. It's also a great idea to give as a gift. If you're going over to a party, you can take one of these for the hostess. As far as the cut evergreen pieces go, there's a few different varieties that I like to use to really make the pot sturdy and hold together throughout the whole season. The first thing I use is a noble fir. I use two different varieties of the fir as kind of a base material. You really want something that's sturdy, that's going to hold its place, and so when you get any snow that's going to get on it, it's not going to flop over, it's going to stay nice and upright. So I use mixture of noble fir and silver fir here. You can start with either one. You can just use one variety, you can use both, whatever works. So what you want to do is figure out how tall you want your container to be, your end height. And then what I do is just you want to cut off any of these lower branches so that when you put the branch into your soil, that it really gets it in there nice and sturdy and firm. If you've got a pot left over from this summer or fall plantings, whatever it may be, feel free to just leave the soil in your pot. If there's some root balls in there from any fall material or summer material, it's great to just leave those in there. The extra roots are going to really help hold your evergreen material into the pot. If you don't have any root balls or extra soil in your pot, feel free to just add some soil to it. Just pack the soil in as good as you can, add a little extra water in there, just really pack it in well. That way it's nice and tight, and again, so when you put your evergreen material in there, it holds it nice and firm and sturdy for you all season long. So now I already have the soil in here in this pot. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my evergreen fir here, and just cut off some of the lower branches. You're going to cut it to size, however tall you want your pot to be. And then just kind of start to layer your material in here. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some of this silver fir. Again, you're going to do the same thing, cut off any lower branches that are kind of sticking out low so you get it into the soil nice and sturdy. And again, just continue to layer them forward. Usually as I start coming forward, I make the pieces a little bit shorter. That way it kind of makes it a little shorter in the front so you can add some extra decoration later. Now, any little pieces that you have here that you've cut off at the bottom, it's a good idea to save those because you can always fill in at the front here like this. Or at the sides if you've got any little holes towards the side. They're real good to just poke in to make your container a little bit fuller. And just to, again, fill in any holes you have. The next thing I like to add is a little bit of Douglas Fir. This one's going to add a little extra texture for you. It's still going to be a little bit sturdy, but it's not going to be quite as sturdy as the noble and silver fir. But it is a good idea just to add a little different color and a little texture to add some interest to your container. And I kind of just space these out throughout the container. Now that we've got most of our base material in, I'm going to start adding a few other pieces that are going to add a little more texture and interest to your container. The first thing I'm going to add is some white pine. Again, it's going to give you a little different texture than your fir and add a little more interest. So again, you're just going to cut the pieces so that they fit the different levels in your pot. And you want to do your best on these to get them poked into the soil. As you get to some of the pine and some of the other material, if you can't quite hit the soil, it's fine. That's kind of what the base material is for. If you get the base material in there nice and sturdy, the other material is going to be able to stay in there even if it's not in the soil, it's going to be pretty sturdy for you. All right, now that we've got our pine in here, we're going to add a little bit of cedar. This particular variety is a Port Orford cedar. The cedar typically is a little more droopy, a little feathery texture, which is great, adds more texture and interest to your container. The thing you want to keep in mind with the cedar is that since it is a little finer texture, it's going to droop a little bit more. Any snow that you get or ice on your container, all that's going to happen with your cedar is it's going to get droopier. So you need to be a little strategic on where you place your cedar and how long you make the pieces, just keeping in mind that it is going to sag more than what it is when you initially put it in your container. The cedar also is going to work great kind of at the front of your container. It does look really nice, kind of draped over the front of the pot. Alright, now we've got our main material in our container here. There's a few other things that you can add to give it a little more color, a little more texture again. We've got another variety of cedar. This is an incense cedar. It has a little bit of yellow on the tips of it, so it's going to add a little brightness to your container. You can use this similar to the Port Orford cedar. Just put it in the front. You can tuck it in the top. And it works really great again, adding a little color and texture. This particular material is called a Carolina Sapphire. It's got a little bit of a blue-green texture or blue-green color to it, so it adds a little different color than the standard greens. That's a great addition. We also have your juniper. Most of you may be similar with the juniper. It's got nice little blueberries on it. This is a good one too that you can add a little color to it. Again, more texture. Also things such as the winterberry, that just gives you some nice red berries. That adds some brightness, color to your pot. Again, you can just put those in there, space it out. It works well. You can also add any variety of artificial material to your containers, whether it be different pieces of glittery material. You can add pine cones, you can add bows, anything like that to just add your own unique touch to your pot. I went ahead and made a bow for mine today. I like to attach it to either a stick, or you can wire it right into your evergreen material. I just make my bow, and then for this pot I'm just going to put it right here at the front. Just poke it in there. You can fluff your bow. Just like that. That's the basics on how to do your pot. You can make two and flank your pot, flank your front porch. You can add extra pots to it if you'd like. The possibilities are endless.